All right, we're live. What's good, everybody? What's good?
What's good?
You know
Not
what?
America. That's not.
I'm actually so tired right now. I'm trying to find. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna say. So yesterday, actually, before we get into that, thank you all whoever's joining us right now live. I'm not sure, but thank you for joining us for this emergency episode, because what's happening in America right now is mad. Trump is doing a madness over there. His people are doing a madness. There's so much to actually discuss regarding what is going on in America. So we decided to do a special episode where we're just only going to be talking about that. So yeah, we'll still be here on Tuesday as usual. But today is just an emergency gathering. So just remember, before we actually begin, make sure you like the video. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or any of your podcasting platforms, subscribe, share with all your friends. All of that. But yeah, before we get going, let's run that intro. So yeah, America.
No, I'm laughing. I'm laughing. I know this isn't a football show, but someone just sent me in my WhatsApp group a tweet saying the FBI is seeking to identify individuals instigating violence in Washington, D.C. We are accepting tips in digital media depicting rioting or violence in and around the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. If you have information, visit, and then it's got a link. And someone sent them a picture of Willian. It said, fellas, I see this man breaking a window and cause havoc, lock him up.
That is so funny. They're throwing him under the bus for true.
Bro. Yeah, no, it's a madness over there, for real. It's a madness.
You know what I think though, with Trump's whole thing, like he says things like obviously he's got his fans, like every president has, but I think the stuff that he says, it brings out these people that just go to the extreme. So he'll say something like, "Oh, they cheated in the votes." So these people take everything he says as gospel and are like, yeah, they cheated. So then they're angry about that, but it's not true. So, like, I don't really know too much about what's going on. I've seen, like, the odd video and stuff, but it's one of them things where his fans, rather than accepting that Trump hadn't been voted in for a second term, because he didn't accept it himself, his fans and supporters, or whatever you want to call them, they're now not accepting what's happened. So it's like he's caused this by the way he didn't just normally when you don't get voted for a second term, you just concede defeat and you just kind of move out the White House. But because he's made it a big thing, like it's a scandal, now all of his supporters are like, it's a scandal, and that's why they've probably been rushing because I think it was about votes, wasn't it? They wouldn't.
Yeah, they were counting the official votes.
So they're trying to say that
from him.
Yeah, well, this is what I mean. I don't know what the law is like in America, but I know there's law here as in inciting riots, and that's what he's done. Because his remarks were inflammatory. He knew what he was doing. He told the people to go and protest. He told them, and knowing how most of his supporters are redneck people who love carry guns and I'm going to defend my country. I'm going to defend my country no matter what it takes. Them kind of guys there. He knew what was going to happen. He knew. Yeah. And when you watch the footage, I've watched quite a few clips, and their attempt to keep them out was feeble at best. Do you know what I mean? Like this little metal thing, about 4 policemen there, and they just moved out of the way, opened the gate, said, you know what? I'm not taking a beating today. You lot go and do what you do. And they just let them in. And what?
They let them in because half of the what you call it, half of them were probably were rioting too. The police.
No, but you know what the thing is that it was said before. There's a few things that I've seen saying that watch January 6th, the protest, watch the protest. So it was planned.
Yeah.
So the other planned protest that we've had would be, you know, the Black Lives Matter and them kind of marches. So they were all planned, and you saw how many police were out for that. Do you know what I mean? And what in your mind, what's going to be more inflammatory? Like people that are protesting for, you know, equality, or people that are protesting for nothing really at all. They're angry because democracy works.
Do you know what's funny though? Well, it's not funny, but like it's mad. Somebody actually said that you'll never get the police going head to head with right wing people. So, you know, like them sort of Trump voters, because they're right wing themselves. So when it's left wing stuff like Black Lives Matter and anything to do with like human rights or whatever, like the police will go up against them. But when it's right wing, they're in the same boat. It's like the KKK. Like a lot of the KKK were policemen, so they didn't really police it. Like obviously they were told they weren't allowed to do certain things, but when they did it, the police kind of looked the other way because they knew that, you know, their boss might be in that crowd or, you know, their family members or whatever. So it's kind of like, this is why people are saying if they were black, it would have had a different response. But black people would never be on that side. They'd always be on the left or, you know, center left. They'd never be far right. Do you know what I mean? So because of that, it's the police are quite I think the police in general are right wing, but the police in America are a lot more right wing than the police in England. Do you know what I mean?
No, I hear that, but the thing is, when you, the reason why there probably weren't even any police is because the police that, you know, would have been posted up were probably in the protest because they want Trump there. Like you said, they're all far right. But as like Damien says, that if the people were a different skin color, outcome would be horrendous. Now, it's actually crazy because like you guys said, the
BLM.
The BLM protest, you know, the Capitol had bare police up, everything, and it just goes to show you what's actually going on. Because if black people were out and doing this kind of protest, they're definitely going to get shot, bullets thrown. They weren't there with bombs. These people were there with bombs. There hasn't been a single article out there saying, you know, terrorists stormed the Capitol. It's
the language used is very, very interesting.
If a Muslim went there, or a black person, or anyone, and they had any kind of detonated device, do you know what would be going on?
Yeah.
I think 4 people did get killed in this. I think the police shot.
Apparently, there's only one.
At least one.
And that
but
one
I think 4
person
people
died
did
fatal.
And you know, I think for me, I don't know if it's a thing of the police are just allowing them to do it, but they were massively outnumbered, which for me shows that, you know, they didn't really pay any serious consideration as to what was going on, which is stupid, because Trump has literally told people to go there and do that. And you know what the Trump followers are like. You've seen it. They've been out even during COVID doing all this madness. And you know, when Trump turns around and says COVID's fake, they're like, oh yeah, COVID's fake. These guys, you know what I mean? These guys, whatever he says, they're on it. Do you know what I mean? They are brain dead. They're basically, what he says is gospel. So they should have known it was going to happen. And from that, they should have had more security around the place. But I don't understand how these people can walk into the Senate building and just run about gallivanting in there like they're on a school trip.
I'm seeing some of them putting their foot up on the desk,
taking souvenirs,
like, what is going
all sorts of things. I'm like, this is a madness. Where's the army? Do you know what I mean? When it's
they're there, the army's there with their foot up,
walking through the streets asking for you not to kill us. Army's there and everything, tear gas, water cannon, whatever it is that you want to use.
I think that's what people are complaining about, because some guy that lost his eye when he was part of the protest for the Black Lives Matter, and he actually got shot at with tear gas. And like, the thing is, people can argue all they want about what happened with Black Lives Matter, and obviously it did go a little bit far in some states where things were getting burnt down, like everything was getting destroyed, which is fair enough. But even the peaceful protesters were still getting shot at. So it wasn't a case of the police were doing what they needed to do to control these crazy people. It was anyone that was kind of there was being targeted. Whereas this thing where they're breaking into the building, where they would have had more of a reason, they've not been doing that. But it's interesting because on Christmas Day, there was a terrorist attack, but they didn't call it that, where some white
Nashville
blew up, in Nashville. But because no one died, he wasn't seen as some sort of terrorist. But that is a terrorist attack. You know what I mean?
This was a terrorist attack. What happened yesterday or today, wherever that was a terrorist attack, but it's never going to be seen as that. And I don't even know what to say. Like, this guy, I have never ever in my life seen a president or anyone have so much power over the guy. He doesn't have to directly say, go out and do this, but he just says stuff, and then all of these people just follow him willingly, like with no questions asked, and they go and do all of this craziness. Has anyone been arrested? What's actually being done? Like,
I think there was 13 arrests at one. The last
13. They all should have been arrested. How are you storming the Capitol?
But I think the thing is with Trump, and this is what makes me laugh, is that America is this great liberator, and they love to go to other people's country and take people out of power when they go a bit crazy. And if Donald Trump was African, America would be over there right now trying to remove him. But he is American president. And no one there is thinking, you know what, we need to take this guy out. Why not? What's the difference between him, what he's doing now, and what someone would do in Egypt or Iran or whatever? And you man want to go over there and just, is it because there's no financial gain to take a Trump out? What is it?
It's because America's racist.
No, for me, it's Trump he's inciting hatred throughout that country. The seeds that he's putting in place and has been putting in place for 4 years are now starting to grow, and you're going to see more and more of these.
They've always
clashing.
Been there, Devo.
But they've always been there. But he's giving people a voice. You know what I mean? There's it's the same with Brexit here, where there's these people have always had these thoughts, but now people on the main stage are saying it validates their thoughts. So it's like, well, he could say it, and he's a president. I feel the same way as him. Yeah, he believes in me. He knows, he feels the same way I do. I support him. And now all of these people are in the streets doing up stupidness.
But you know
that
what?
was in the Middle East, and you had a leader who was doing that and getting people to, I don't believe in this. You should roll through the streets and go to this person's house and terrorize them. America would be the first people to say, you know what, that's a dictatorship. That guy doesn't stand for human rights. We're going to go over there and remove him because we're liberators. We're America.
You need to understand the people that are in power in America, they believe these. They're just racist as it is. And Trump being able to do this guy ain't been removed. There's been other like scandals and stuff with other presidents in America before. Bush with weapons of mass destruction, and Nixon with Watergate and all that stuff. But Trump on a whole is literally, America was always before. America was very racist, obviously with the slavery times, and all these right wing people. America's white. White is the right way, and all of that stuff. So you've got all of that, and you now have got this guy that's given these people, like you said, a platform. And obviously, time has been coming where they've tried to get equality in, so it's been suppressed. Obviously, these people have been been quiet. They always feel like, okay, so what is black people over white now? What Black Lives Matters, all lives matters, and all of that stuff. So now you've got this guy Trump that is now allowing all of these things, like he said, to just fester and to grow. And obviously, those people that believe in that, they're crazy people. So you just give them like a little inch, they're going to read him like, you know what, I can go and do this. They now go and do this, and you now have this that happened. And I feel it for America because well, for the people, the good people anyway. And I think this is just the first. I feel like there's many to come because what's his name? Trump, what's going to happen is once he gets removed from power or whatever, this just goes to show that he has power, even though he's not, he won't be president, but he can just tweet one thing if they let him back on Twitter because they removed him from there. They suspended his account. It just goes to show all he has after this, when he's not president, he can just say one thing or just suggest something, and that's it. And that is it. These people will come out in full force. It's not over. It's not over. This is just the beginning of what's to come after Trump.
You know what's the worst thing about it though? Because when that whole Black Lives Matter thing was going on, and they were saying we're going to get the army out, but it's illegal apparently to set the army out on your own citizens.
Yeah.
So then, instead of like, because he tried to do that and it backfired, he then was like, basically said, without actually saying it, you know, that we need to stand up for our country. So by that, it's insinuating that they can go out and do what they want to the people that are, you know, rioting or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So things like that, it's just dangerous because it's like you say, these people, they'll think, say he says like, oh, you can go do what you want to people that are attacking your buildings or whatever. They're gonna see that as like, oh, I can shoot them. Like even if he didn't mean that, that's how they're gonna see it. And it's just like, and he knows that as well.
But he knows what he's saying. He's saying things. Yeah, incite. That's what I'm saying. He's inciting violence.
Yeah, he is,
and I'm pretty sure that's against the law. Like you can't be saying things to incite violence and rioting and stuff like that. But I could be wrong with American law, but I know over here, you know, that's deemed as illegal. But as I said, America is a different place. But someone put a question. I think it was I can't remember his name. I think it's King Darian or something like that. 9-5. He said, "What will Trump's impact on Joe Biden's presidency? What will the impact on Joe Biden's presidency be?" You know, Biden's got a hell of a job on his hands because the country is split. It's split.
And they're not going to listen to him. Most of them
are not going to listen to him. Like, it's going to be. I mean, there's very, very little you could probably do to sway favor with a certain group of people. But, you know, as you said, Trump could still be saying stuff on the sidelines, and these people are still going to be running the streets doing his bidding for him. So what's Biden going to do? Yeah, I would hate to be Joe Biden right now. You won this thing fair and square, firstly. And now you have to go for all of this where it's a democracy. You've done your votes. You didn't win. Come out the house.
But this,
you know what I mean?
This is why he never got voted in the first place. And it's the same with Boris Johnson. Like people were saying, you know, when it came to voting, people were like, oh yeah, but Jeremy Corbyn, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yeah, but the thing is, for one, he isn't racist. Like, okay, they say that he's anti-Semitist or whatever, but that's basically if you don't agree with what's happening in Israel, that means you're an anti-Semite or whatever.
Listen, they painted that guy so bad, Jeremy Corbyn, throughout the election, man.
I know, but Boris Johnson, who said how many disrespectful things about black people, like I, as a non-white person, am not voting for him because when he comes into power, all of a sudden the racist people think, well, if he can say it, I can say it. And we've seen it. Like the past couple of years, Brexit started it, I'd say. I'm not saying it didn't exist before because it did. But Brexit brought out people who might have not said anything, maybe fought it, but they wouldn't have said it. That's brought all them out to kind of be able to express how they feel about foreigners or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like Islamophobia has got worse. Like everything has got worse since Brexit. And Boris Johnson coming in as well is just basically giving people like Trump, is giving them a platform to express their hatred. Do you know what I mean? So this is why it's dangerous. I know someone in the comments is saying that everything's racist, but the thing is, it's not even about it's not even about black and white. There was white people at Black Lives Matter's protest that's out, and yet there's white people who are doing terrorist things and having bombs not being shot at. Yes, one woman got shot. We know that. But do you know what I mean? It wasn't just one white person that lost their eye. So the thing is, all people are saying, I'm not saying this as black, white. I'm saying this as they need to keep the same energy. If you think that destroying property is a crime and therefore you need to send riot police, then whoever is causing destruction to property has to be treated the same way. And that's not what happens in America. When it's black people, it's, look at these terrorists, And when it's white people can carry guns around the streets and they feel no way. I can guarantee if there was black people in the street carrying guns, the police wouldn't just walk past them and shake their hands like they were doing with the white people. So this is
if I had a gun in America right now, I'll probably get shot.
Bro, you don't even have to have a gun.
Some small thing, like I will get shot. But these men walk around with pumpies, shotguns, and they'll just be like, yeah, cool. It's a joke. And that's the problem. And I'm going to bring this comment up. 1 second, Devo. I'm going to bring this comment up here because I've been ignoring it, but now I'm triggered. We got this purple 13 guy or girl, whatever. The problem is you're calling everything racist while you can see for yourself on YouTube all the racist stuff Biden said. Look it up. Listen, at the end of the day, it is down to racism, because if you just look at the energy that is being, like Yannicka said, that's being thing. Man tweeted, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. He tweeted that, when all the Black Lives Matter stuff happened, When that happened, that's what he tweeted. When this happened in the Capitol, man just says, go out, protest peacefully. You know what? Don't go over the top, but you can protest peacefully. But when black people want to protest for equality, he's saying that he's going to shoot up black people. And racism is part of it, because look at how they treat black people just in general in America. Like they ask for their ID and they think they got a gun and they shoot them up. Look how much people have died from police brutality. Go and bring me the stats for all the white people that have been killed from police brutality and compare that to the black people. Like when people say it's not to do with race and you bring everything into race, they would say we're making ourselves the victims. But look at the facts. Yes, sometimes as black people we victimize ourselves and bring in racism, this, hardship, all of that. Yes, they're all factors. And yes, we do victimize ourselves. But at the end of the day, it is like racism is there. Like, how can you say that and say that it's not? I said that's the police, not the people.
Hold on. The police are racist. What people need to understand is that racism takes in many forms. And when we're talking about racism in this form, we're talking about systematic racism. You're talking about a system. So Black Lives Matter is a movement which is literally saying we want to be held equally to everyone else. That's all we're saying. We're not saying we're better than you. We're not saying we deserve more rights than you. We're saying we just want to be equal and have the equal rights to what everyone else has. That is literally all it says. So for anyone to be upset with that and anyone to go against that and start talking about all lives matter, that's exactly what we're saying. We're saying all lives matter, but for all lives to matter, black lives have to matter too. That's all we're saying. So for anyone to come up with a problem with that and to show that the way that they treated protesters for the Black Lives Matter compared to how they treated people storming a government building will show you where systematic racism comes into it. Because people marching through the street saying, don't shoot me, please. I would like to be held at the same level as you. Please don't shoot me. To people running up in a government building saying, you guys messed up the vote. You're calling the government liars. And you're able to get away with that. But by me just walking through the street saying, please don't shoot me because I would like to be held in the same regard as everyone else, I get called all sorts of things and you want to shoot me. People say the police, the thing is with the police in America especially, they have a long history of killing black people for no reason. This isn't new. Rodney King incited riots in 1992. I think the guy's name was Ahmed Diallo. He got shot 30 odd times for taking his wallet out on his doorstep. We've seen videos of people being shot in cars with their children in the back. We've seen all sorts of things. And that is systematic racism. Yeah, exactly. That is the police force who are supposed to be there to protect people, taxpayers. People pay these policemen's wages to be turned around and shot by the very people that are supposed to protect you. That's not. You can't tell me that's not racist. That's
you
the
know
police.
what it is as well.
That's systematic. That's from the top.
Like with the police as well, like in America, it's one of them things where it's like people like have called the police saying like, oh, my husband is having a mental health episode. They've explained over the phone. Do you know what I mean? We need you to come and help us. There was a woman as well that called for some reason, and they came in and shot her in front of her kids. You know what I mean? So these people explaining. So it's not a case of the police didn't know. They saw something. They thought, oh, what's happening? They got scared and they shot them. These police are fully aware of what they're walking into, and yet people are still ending up dead. From when they shot that 7-year-old girl who was asleep on the sofa, you can't argue the case of the police. And yeah, okay, not all police are racist. We know. It's the system that's racist. That's why black people becoming police officers is never going to solve the problem. And if anything, the sorts of black people that become police officers are probably not where they need to be on the scale because they're not changing anything. And even if they try and change something, it's not going to work because they're a small little pea in a big pod. Like they are literally not going to be able to make a difference.
If you don't ever make the food chain in terms of the police, they'll just be like, just a mall cop.
Yeah.
No, but they can make it up, but they have to be a certain type of black person to make it up there. You have to be one of them like, oh no, but he's not black, he's my friend. Them kind of, you can't, you got to play by the rules.
Like the actor, what's his name? Samuel Jackson, who the character that he played in Django. That's basically what you have to be if you want to get anywhere in the police state. In America as a police officer.
But Samuel makes a good point there, where it's like these people knew full well that they felt they had the right to go into this building and do what they wanted without any
which comment?
The Samuel Ngundana at the bottom there. Where these people felt they had the right to go up in this building without any repercussion whatsoever. Do you understand the mentality you've got to have? In light of everything that's gone on in recent times, we've all seen
white privilege as well. This is white privilege.
Massively. Man's taking pictures in the chair where the Senate sit. Do you know what I mean? And I saw another video of a man that are two people recreating George Floyd's death on the stairs to the Senate.
So
do you know how powerful a video that is? Do you know how powerful that is? They are mocking the death of someone that started, it didn't start, but it enhanced the movement across the world where we're still fighting for equality, and they're openly mocking it on the stairs of their government building for the world to see.
And nothing's going to happen. There's going to be no repercussions. And that's right there is the problem. And if you, Mr. or Mrs. Purple 13, whatever your name is, cannot see that, then I don't know. Then you might be a racist too. I don't know. Because I just don't get it. How you can sit there, like look at it.
I think the issue is that a lot of people will, when you haven't experienced something, because I'm sure all three of us here have experienced racism in one way, shape, or another, and we will continue to do so because that's just the way of the world. But when you haven't experienced something like that, you find it very hard to understand. Because when you try and understand, explain,
don't say it don't exist. Then
when you're trying to explain to someone systematic racism, which might not be in your face, it's not like someone just come out and called you the N-word, then you can say, yeah, you know what, that was racist. But when you try and say, look, I didn't get the same chances as someone else because of the color of my skin, that's very hard to explain to someone who hasn't experienced that. So it's hard for them to put themselves in our shoes to understand what we're going through. So I get sometimes when people don't understand systematic racism, but it's being shown for everyone to see on social media, out on the news. You can see it. Look at the reactions between what happens when a black group, they're not all black, as you said, many white people, many people from different ethnic backgrounds were part of the Black Lives Matter movement, and see the difference between that and what we saw yesterday. And that is just like racism.
This comment here, they had bombs in different locations. Not even one, multiple bombs that had to be safely disarmed. How is this even allowed? Like, nothing, and nothing's probably going to come of this. Listen, the Capitol building, you know what this building is. How are you allowed to bust up in there with bombs and move like nothing and everything is cool and calm? I don't know, man. I don't know. This isn't an absolute attack. And if nothing gets done to these people, all of it, fair enough, you can protest, but you can't. That right there is past protesting. You don't go up with bombs. Imagine if us lot here went to the House of Parliament, and we had bombs.
I'm pretty sure it's damaging a government building is a criminal offence. Anyone they catch that was there, they got their face on camera, should be arrested. Simple.
It's a joke.
They said they are obviously looking for people, but the thing is, it's what is annoying about the whole Black Lives Matter thing is obviously there's two things. One, like you said earlier, it's not about saying black people are better than white people or black people want special treatment. It's literally saying we want our lives to matter as much as yours. That is what it is. They want equality. Do you know what I mean? They don't want anything extra. So there's that. Secondly, when that whole Black Lives Matter thing was happening and people were complaining about the police, you had a lot of white people at the time that were saying, yeah, but white people get killed by the police as well. Obviously, the police don't just kill black people. They kill people unnecessarily all the time. And the thing is, the Black Lives Matter movement, when they're talking about defund the police, they're including the white victims as well. Because they're basically saying that the police shouldn't be going out there and killing people unlawfully. So that's the argument. So it wasn't, we don't want them to kill black people, but you can kill other people. It was literally the process of why are people being killed when they're unarmed? Or, you know, I saw a horrible video that's of some little white boy. I think he's like maybe late teens. And he's in a hotel or something, and the police like tell him to get on the floor, so he does. And then they ask him I don't know what they asked him for, but he went to go to his pocket to get like his ID or whatever it was, and they shot him. But they didn't just shoot him once, they shot him like 5-6 times. He was on his own on the floor. There was about 5 police officers. There's no way that they could feel threatened by that one guy. Do you know what I mean? And they'd already shot him. And it's just like things like that is why people are saying defund the police, because the way they react to people, and how are people dying in situations where they're in the car with their family? You know what I mean?
You know what,
and
these guys are just thugs.
You've got kids that have shut up a school and they're walking them out and taking them to Burger King or whatever it was on the way to the police. Like, there's a big difference between how they treat people. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, this is the issue. And okay, some of the victims are white, obviously, but it's just like, you don't really see the other side of it where they are being nice to the victim and they are doing that. That doesn't really happen with black people. Do not get that chance to kind of go to Burger King after shooting up a school. Like, they're dead on sight. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you know what the thing is as well, another thing about America, and this is a whole nother conversation, but the whole thing about America, and when we go back to slavery, and people say, oh yeah, slavery was so long ago, but the fact that America abolished slavery, but in the Constitution, they put in a thing saying that slaves will then be sold into the jail system and will work in the jail system. So they've taken black people from the fields and put them into the jails, and they're now doing hard labor in the jails for free for some of the biggest companies around the world. The American jail system is like one of the biggest, they labor, I don't know the correct term, but the jail system has many people creating clothes, materials, all sorts of things that are then given to massive companies across the world for nothing. So this is why when you look at the prison system in America and you look at how many people in that prison system are black, it's taken from slavery. Because when they abolished slavery, what did they do with all these people? They didn't make them all free.
No.
They found reason to round them all back up again and just put them in a jail.
Yeah.
America's been racist from its inception. Do you know what I mean?
America's built on racism.
Yeah,
like,
and so is this country, but that's another conversation for another time.
Listen, we can go on about this for a while, but obviously everyone has to get back to work or rest because Yannicka, I think she's doing night shifts?
Yeah, I did night shift last night.
Yeah, so she's gonna get rest. Devil got things to do. I have to get back to work. Yeah. So thanks guys for being able to join today. We'll be back on Tuesday. We got a whole load of stuff we're going to talk about. So if you do have any questions, please remember to send them in. Also, if you see any like craziness or funny tweets or anything along the lines like raw, tag us in it. Like tag me, tag Devil, tag Yannicka or use the hashtag there, like anything. Just send it to us. Let us see it. So we can make it to the show. We're not just going to take questions. We're just going to look at different things. There's so much. So yeah, once again, thank you for joining. Remember to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. We're almost at 1K subscribers. So make sure you subscribe to us also on the podcast channels, Spotify, Apple Music, mainly as during this It's All Mad podcast series. There'll be podcasts that will be done on there that won't be on YouTube as of yet. So make sure you subscribe for the extra content. So yeah, once again, I thank you guys for joining out of your busy schedules. Yeah, help America, innit? God help America, because boy, what's gonna happen next?
Can I just reply to that comment? Because the thing is, the one about Biden, because what happens a lot of the time, and it happens the same in the UK, when there's a presidential election or a prime minister election, people always say, well, the other one's racist. Let's be honest, a lot of the prime ministers that are up in America are old white men. Most of them, in the positions that they're in and the backgrounds that they come from, will either be racist themselves or have been brought up in that systematic racism where they kind of can't see it. So, when people are arguing about white supremacy and saying like, oh, it doesn't exist, and, like white privilege doesn't exist,
it definitely exists.
The kind of people who are going to get voted in. So they're probably going to say racist things because that's what it is. But the thing is, as a black person, you're never probably going to get a president who's perfect. So you have to vote for the best of the two options. And out of Trump or Biden, Biden is the better option. And
listen, they're both evil.
Kamala Harris, she's been, obviously with her history, it's not the best. But if you have to take Kamala Harris or another 4 years of Donald Trump, you're going to go for that. And then hopefully when she gets in, she does a decent job. But you can't guarantee it. Do you know what I mean? I think it's the same in the UK. Like, I didn't want Boris Johnson in because Boris Johnson is racist. But that doesn't mean that Jeremy Corbyn doesn't have any racist views. Do you know what I mean? Just you vote for who's the best out of the two. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then he then goes to say, you need to look it up. You'll be amazed. He literally made laws. But so he made these laws. Biden did. That's why he's angry, because a racist is now. Listen, they are both. I haven't looked up.
It's the system.
I haven't looked up on much Biden, but both of them are bad, isn't it? And just like Yannicka said, you pick the better. You pick the better evil. If we were to look up at all the stuff Biden's done, it's probably just as mad as Trump. He's just, at least with Trump, you know what you're getting. Biden, we don't know, innit? We're yet to see. And obviously, the stuff that he tweeted, like, if you're black, you should definitely be voting for me. Like, who are you? I don't need a white savior. Like, listen, if I was to get onto Biden, it would be mad. But right now, Biden ain't the topic. It's Trump and what is actually happening in the Capitol. So, and you say freedom, you say free world is freedom is gone. Freedom was never here. It's an illusion. Like, they control us. Like, it is what it is. But like, before we go on, we're actually gonna end up going on for another half an hour. we'll come back to this another time. It's clear there are some things that we need to address here, and hopefully the people that don't understand systematic racism will. And if you're not willing to understand and see where we're coming from, then I don't know why we're having this conversation with you, because every time we answer questions, you come up with more things to say that we're wrong or whatever. Then that there's a problem. We can't help you if you don't want to be helped.
At the end of the day, we live in a world where information is readily available to everybody, and if there's anything that you need, you want to, and at the end of the day, it's about wanting to learn and wanting to change your mindset. If you're not willing to do that, then peace be with you, innit? But if you are, there's many things out there on the internet where you can read and find your own information and make up your own mind.
Neeks was working, so he couldn't join us today because but I'm supposed to be working as well. But we're hearing it. But don't worry, for the next episode, hopefully we'll get some guests on and stuff. But yeah, I'm not gonna look at any more comments. I'm not gonna be triggered. Thank you all. Once again, thank you for joining us. I'm actually gonna run the intro now. Stay safe and thanks. See you guys.